Today we're going to talk about unusual attitudes.
So now as Matt starts to put the plane in that undesired aircraft state, it's very important to remember that what he's doing is messing with your inner ear. Make sure that you recover with what you see and not what you feel. As you're going to hear every time you do unusual attitudes, do not rush to make your correction. Air controls.
Hey guys, it's Matthew from Sling Pilot Academy. Welcome to our instructional maneuvers series, where we explain a maneuver on the ground, show you what it looks like in the plane, and go over some common mistakes. Enjoy the video.
Hi, my name's Andrew. Welcome to the Sling Pilot Academy Maneuver Series. Today we're going to talk about unusual attitudes. An unusual attitude is a maneuver that you do on your private, instrument, and CFI initial check ride. During this maneuver, your examiner takes controls of the aircraft and puts it in an undesired aircraft state. At this time, you're going to simulate that you become disoriented. During this maneuver, the examiner will take controls of the aircraft and place you in an undesired aircraft state. During this, you will be heads down, eyes closed, and wearing your foggles. To do this, you'll complete the 3-step transfer of controls. They will ask you to remove your hands and feet from the flight controls and close your eyes. Mastering this maneuver is very important for every pilot, as it could save you in a situation where you fly from VMC into IMC inadvertently and end up being spatially disoriented. Mastering the recovery for a nose up and nose down attitude is very important, as this maneuver trains you to recover from inadvertent flight into IMC, which may lead to possible spatial disorientation. After the examiner places you in an undesired aircraft state, they will relieve controls back to you. At that point, you will take control of the aircraft and have to recover from the attitude they put you in. This may change based on the examiner. You may be nose up with a bank, low airspeed and low power setting, or nose down with a bank and high power setting. Your job is to recover quickly and correctly and bring the aircraft back to normal, straight and level flight. Now that we've talked about this maneuver, let's go practice it in the plane.
Alright, so here we are back in the airplane getting ready to do some unusual attitudes. While you're getting trained, your instructor will teach you how to do it both with and without foggles. Say, because it's a nice beautiful day outside in LA, we're going to do it without foggles because I want to see the outside. So for this maneuver, I want to have Matthew take controls, and like we talked about, he's going to put the aircraft in a weird, undesired aircraft state. So he's either going to put me in a weird nose high attitude or nose low, where I have to then pull my head up, assess where I am by looking outside and using the horizon with the support of my instruments, and then make a correction to bring the airplane back under control and into a safe area. Alright, so now that we're in a good state, we're clear of traffic. Matt, when you're ready to take controls, it's all yours.
Alright, my controls.
Your controls.
Alright, feet off the rudders, hands in lap, head down and eyes closed.
Let's do it. So now as Matt starts to put the plane in that undesired aircraft state, it's very important to remember that what he's doing is messing with your inner ear. So your body's going to be thinking the plane's doing one thing when it's actually doing another. So when you go to recover from this maneuver, make sure that you recover with what you see and not what you feel. Your controls. I control. So I have controls now. I'm going to get our nose back down to break the stall. I'm going to get our wings level and increase the power. Now that the aircraft's back under control, I'm going to start to climb and get away from the ground. So with that recovery, you can see again, just like the accelerated stall, happens pretty quickly. What I did there was the first thing I saw was outside, I saw that I was nose up. You could also hear from the sound of the engine that we're at a low airspeed, and I supported that by checking my airspeed and seeing that we're in the low 80s. So what I knew what to do is to bring the nose down to reduce the risk of any stall, get our wings level, and increase power to get us away from the ground and make sure that the aircraft is in a safe condition. So we're ready to do one more, Matt. When you're ready to take controls, it's all yours.
Alright, my controls.
Your controls.
My controls.
As you're going to hear every time you do unusual attitudes, do not rush to make your correction. Especially when you're first starting to learn this maneuver, you're going to want to do what your body says and not what you see. So make sure that when he says take controls of the aircraft, you assess what you're doing and you make the proper recovery. Air controls. My controls. So here we are at the nose down. I'm going to bring wings level, get my nose back up, and bring my power back to ensure I don't overspeed the airplane. Now once again, you can see that's a very quick recovery that I take right there. But all in that short period of time, we're assessing that we're nose down and we're banked. Now it's very important when you recover from a nose down unusual attitude is that you get your wings level before you start to bring the nose back up. Because what can happen is if you're in that deep bank and you immediately start pulling back on the nose, you can end up stalling the aircraft because of the increased G's, just like we talked about with our accelerated stall. Now after I got the wings level and I started to bring the nose back up, I ensured that my throttle was at a decent setting so that my airspeed wasn't rapidly rising. What can happen sometimes with this maneuver is your examiner will leave you at a very nose-low attitude with a very high power setting. And if you don't respond too quickly or make enough of an adjustment to the power, you can easily either overspeed your indicator airspeed or overspeed the engine RPM. When you're practicing this maneuver again, I cannot stress enough that the most important thing is to take a second to see what's happening. Now, as someone who's done this maneuver, a couple hundred times, it's pretty easy to kind of see what's going on and make the recovery. Don't be afraid to take a second to look at the horizon and realize, okay, what is my aircraft doing? It's very important that you actually train yourself to do that while you're first learning this maneuver, so that when your check ride comes, you don't panic and do the wrong thing.
The most common error when performing unusual attitudes is rushing your recovery. The key to completing this maneuver safely is making sure that you do the correct recovery and not rush to do any recovery. When the examiner relieves flight controls back to you, it's important to assess the state of the aircraft that's been given to you. While the examiner is placing the aircraft in this undesired aircraft state, it may mess with you and make you think that you're doing something you're not. This means that when you're given controls of the aircraft, don't assume that you're nose down or nose up. Take a couple seconds to look at the horizon, find your orientation, then make the proper response. Improper recovery of this unusual attitude can lead to aircraft damage or exceedance from ACS standards.
The most common error with this maneuver is trusting your body over what you see. Again, people rush to make their correction, and when they're nose low with a high power setting, sometimes people increase power because they think their body's telling them that they're nose high. And what's going to happen in that case is, one, you're going to overspeed and possibly damage the engine, and number two is you're going to go outside of ACS standards and fail the maneuver. And like I said on the nose low recovery, one error that you don't want to make is you don't want to start pitching up immediately. Make sure that your wings are level, or at least you're starting to roll back to level. This is something you can start to do simultaneously, but if you're in a deep bank, make sure you get to about 25 degrees before you start really bringing that nose up. Because again, what can happen at any airspeed is you may end up in an accelerated stall or just over-G'ing the aircraft and putting yourself in an uncomfortable and possibly dangerous area. Hello?
Gotcha. I'm sorry, 0 double.
Ooh, dolphins. You want to see the dolphins?
Oh, let's do it.
Oh, it's in the middle of the TFR. Mother
It could be around it.
smart dolphins, dude. Nothing extends into the ocean.